When Nintendo released the Wii, they needed a game to show off what that fancy new controller can do. Enter Wii Sports, a game that was packaged with every Wii console outside of Japan, and it proved a big hit. It showed off through 5 different games what that remote can do, and it still remains a lot of fun to play to this day, especially the bowling. So, when Nintendo brought out the Wii U, along with a fancy new controller, it only made sense to release a game at launch that showed off exactly what this can do. Enter Nintendo Land, a collection of 12 mini-games that show off what this can do, all based on Nintendo's own franchises. But the question is, would this be as successful as Wii Sports? Well, sales-wise, no. I mean, it's a bit of an understatement to say that this has sold nowhere near as well as the Wii has, but as a game in itself, does it do its job in selling this gamepad? Well, let's dive into these mini-games and find out. So, Nintendo's franchises. It's got such a rich history, so many franchises to choose from really. Let's start with the one we all want to see, Octopus Dance. So yeah, Game & Watch isn't exactly the go-to Nintendo franchise, but it is a big part of their history, so fair enough it gets a mini-game on here. But Octopus Dance, is that really what you were expecting with this? It's a rhythm game, and not a particularly good rhythm game at that. Basically, you have 2 dancers. One of them shows you what dance moves to do just by moving his arms, and you've got to copy using the analog sticks to move your arms. You'll be looking at the TV and the gamepad. Like, if they're facing you at the gamepad, they'll be behind on the TV, and it switches viewpoints between rounds, so you've got to switch which screen you're looking at, because obviously it'll be reverse controls if you're looking at the other screen. But then ink will get squirted at the screen, so you're forced to look at the reverse control viewpoint, and I'm not very good at rhythm games, then therefore I'm not very good at this. And when it's all reverse controls, I am hopeless at this. I mean, what kind of dancing is that? I mean, imagine if you're watching your favourite dance show on TV and you're at the finals and they're going to do their big dance number to sort of win their votes, and they just stand there in the dance floor going, "Vote for me!" And when you lose, you get eaten by a giant octopus. Just because. The good news is, they get better from there. That is the worst minigame. So let's look at another old Nintendo franchise they've brought back for this, Balloon Trip Breeze. This is based on that minigame in Balloon Fighter on the NES, when it's pretty much the same game. You fly around, you're using the gamepad to choose which direction the wind takes you. It's easier to look at the TV because it's quite zoomed in on the gamepad, but this is a high score game. Collect the balloons, avoid the enemies and obstacles, and it's a really fun, addicting game, this one. Can't really fault it, but not really much more to say about it than that. Yoshi's Fruit Cart. This is actually a really fun puzzle game. On the screen, as you can see, there's fruit to collect, and there's a door, there's the exit. You have to collect all that fruit before you get to that door. Here's the catch. On the gamepad, which is where you're drawing his route, the fruit is invisible. Any obstacles such as holes and stuff later on are invisible. So you've really got to use the floor pattern to sort of trace your way, line them up with the floor pattern basically, and sort of work out the way. And to stop you from going all over every part of the map, you have fuel you can run out of, so you've got to do it in a limited time, but eating the fruit fills up your fuel. If you fail to get all the fruit, then you just hit the door and you lose a life. And when you redo it, the fruit you already got stays gone, so you don't have to collect it again, which is a blessing and a curse, because you might have a long route to get to that door and you need all that fruit to keep your fuel up. There are sort of other challenges you go on, such as numbered fruit you've got to get in the right order and moving floor patterns. And later on you do get warp doors, which will take you to later levels if you've already beaten those levels, so you don't have to do it all in one go, which is actually really cool they've done that. So yeah, this is a really fun mini game. Takamaru's Ninja Castle, I hope I pronounced that right. That is a franchise I have never heard of before, and it's just basically a light gun style game, but you use the gamepad to fling ninja stars at the ninjas, which actually feels really satisfying, and I quite like how this one controls. You get different coloured ninjas that do different attacks, have different health bars, and yeah, it's just your standard light gun game really, but again, just ninja stars you're flinging at them. This one is a lot of fun. Oh my god, Captain Falcon's Twister Race! I mean, imagine what the Wii U can do with F-Zero! How fast you can make it go now! I mean, it was fast enough on the GameCube, but this is the Wii U. Let's just see what they can bring with this. What the hell am I playing? So yeah, when I was expecting F-Zero on this, I was thinking maybe a roller coaster game sort of thing, but instead we've gotten Twister Race. Yeah, this could have been something grand and spectacular, but it's Twister Race. It's a shame really, because as a game in itself it's not too bad. I mean, once you get used to the controls, it controls fine, and the idea of the game just avoiding obstacles is, yeah, it's fine. That's all I can really say, it's fine. And it does speed up as you go along, but you're not really going to get to that speed until you've played it a lot of times, so you have a bad opinion of the game as it starts, I think. And just the fact that it's F-Zero just feels like a lost opportunity here. It's a shame really, that's all I can sum up the game. It's a fine game, yeah, but just a waste. When they were first showing off Nintendo Land and the trailers and so forth, the game I was looking the most forward to was Donkey Kong Crash Course, and it does not disappoint. I absolutely love this game. You basically tilt the gamepad left and right to move your cart, and there's certain buttons you have to press to activate certain platforms, blowing into the microphone for those fan activated platforms, and you just got to make your way through an obstacle course. This is a fantastic game. I wish they'd done more to this, like maybe eShop games download them or something, but overall this is really fun. But there is a big negative that does kind of ruin the game a bit. Basically, from what I know, there are 5 levels in this. When you beat the first level, the game ends as if you've completed it. To get to level 2, you've got to play through level 1 a second time after you've already beaten it, and then when you beat it that time, it opens up level 2 for you and you carry on as you are. So every time you want to play level 2, you've got to play through level 1 first. That's not too much of a problem, but then when you beat level 2, the game ends again. And then to get to level 3, you've got to play through level 1 and 2 again. And it is quite a hard game. With practice, I can get through level 1 quite easily, but level 2 I still struggle with. So when I beat level 2 for the second time and got to level 3, I died quite quickly, and I thought I can't try that level again without going through those first 2 levels again. But then I tried to do it again, and I thought I'll get to level 5, you know, I'm going to have to beat level 3 then redo it all to get to level 4, I guess. There's a time limit though. A hidden one, yes, because the timer counts up, but I ran out of time on one of my playthroughs, so I don't think I'm ever going to get to level 5. As far as I know, I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't see any sort of level select or anything like that. It's a shame because this is such an awesome game. Okay, on to the co-op games now. So we'll start with Pikmin 1. Basically, the gamepad player plays as Olimar. You touch the gamepad screen to fling your Pikmin. The person with the Wii remote is a Pikmin who just hits the button to bash things. It's basically going through levels, whacking things, defeating enemies. Nothing really special, it's kind of basic. It's fun to play with a casual gamer because they'll enjoy it, obviously. So, but yeah, it's not bad, not great. Moving on. Now we got that Zelda one. We all like Zelda, don't we? Basically, the gamepad player has the bow and arrow. The Wii remote person has a sword, naturally. Person with the sword, you need the Wii Motion Plus for this. Basically, Skyward Sword, think that, just swing your sword. Person with the bow and arrow, aiming with the gamepad, just moving it around. Pulling back on the right analog stick to launch those arrows. Both controls work fine, but the bow and arrow's a lot better. And it is on rails. They will walk on their own unless you're using the bow and arrow. So the person with that is usually hanging far back from the swords people. And yeah, you basically defeat enemies, find secrets, collect that Triforce at the end. A lot of fun, this one. It's the best of the 3 co-op games. But there is another co-op game which we'll talk about now. It wouldn't be a Nintendo theme park without Metroid, would it? People with the Wii remote, you need a nunchuck. They control Samus, basically. Well, obviously it's your Mii in the Samus body. Basically, you have analog stick to move, pointer to aim, shooting and stuff, morph ball. Basically, the controls that Metroid Other M should have had, really. Maybe a lot of people would have been less critical then, as they actually work quite well. Unfortunately, there are the gunship controls. The person with the gamepad is in the gunship. You basically, left stick will move you forwards, backwards and sidestepping or strafing. The right stick is to move up and down in straight lines or to look left and right, and then you tilt the gamepad's gyro thing to aim. It's kind of confusing, but you can learn it. It's quite a steep learning curve for it, and I'm imagining with Star Fox Zero coming out, people are having concerns about it. I say play this, get used to this controls, because I imagine if you can get used to these ones, you'll get used to Star Fox, but I've not played Star Fox, I don't know. But anyway, you have like co-op mode where you can like take down enemies and stuff, and you can also fight each other, like people on foot against the gunship. They're quite fun once you learn the controls, but you have to learn the controls. There's no getting around that. And now on to the competitive multiplayers. Mario Chase. This is the game I always introduce people to the Wii U with, because it's a very simple game and it's a lot of fun. The person with the gamepad is Mario. On their screen they get a top-down view of the whole maze, and they have to run around and for the time limit avoid Toad, who's the Wii remote player. The Wii remote player has to then catch Mario by exploring the maze. If you're playing one-on-one, then you get 2 Yoshi robots to help you catch Mario, but if they catch Mario, that just knocks him over, it doesn't end the game. There are 3 maps. Unfortunately, there's not more, but they are good maps. One's just your basic maze, the other one has mud, and the third one has slides. You can't run up the slides, you just fall down them and get caught. And when you have more than 2 players, you don't have the Yoshi robots, but you do have bigger versions of the map. So there is a bit of variety there, and this is a lot of fun, especially afterwards. You get a replay of the whole match, where from the maze point of view, from the top-down map, and it's sped up, and so you can sort of see, oh god, they were right behind me at that point, I didn't see he was there, and things like that. So it's quite nice that they've done that. Nice little touch, nice little game, really. Obviously Animal Crossing had to have a mini game on here, and in this one it's a bit of a learning curve on this one as well if you're the gamepad player. Not that it's difficult controls, it's just difficult to control, if you get what I mean. Basically, whoever has the Wii remote is like the animal and they have to go around collecting sweets. The gamepad player is playing as the guards, 2 guards at once, left stick and right stick for each guard, and that's where it gets confusing a bit, sort of controlling both at once. And you have to, once you get used to it, you can sort of trap your enemies inside so they can't escape, but basically the elephants just have to collect the sweets before they lose 3 lives, and the more sweets you're carrying, the slower you go, so you've got to be a bit tactical with that. But it's easily played if the person with the gamepad's never played it before, because they will struggle to get used to this. But if you're playing with someone who's played it loads, then you're going to have a tough time. And I really am saving the best for last here. This really shows off what the gamepad can do for multiplayer. Whoever has the gamepad is a ghost. Whoever has the Wii remotes is Luigi. The ghost is invisible on the TV screen, but he's completely visible on the gamepad. So whoever has the gamepad knows where he is. The other people have no idea where the ghost is. The ghost has to catch Luigi 3 times in order to win, or if there's more than one Luigi, then it's like a stuck in the mud kind of thing. The Luigis have to shine their torch on the ghost to drain its energy. The controllers vibrate when the ghost is nearby, so you get a little clue as to when they're nearby, or there's flashes of lightning sometimes that show where the ghost is briefly. You've also got Monita, I'll get to her later, and she sort of shines her torch around as well. One time I was playing this with a friend and he decided to sit in front of me for some reason, so I could see his gamepad screen quite clearly, and I just let him think he was sneaking up on me, but instead I just turned around and shined on him in the last second, and he kept on wondering how I knew where he is, and I said to him at the end, I could see your screen, you know. So this is a fun game with the more people you have. I have played it with 5 people once, and there were a lot of screams when the ghost suddenly appeared out of nowhere. It's actually a lot of fun, this one. Best game on Nintendo Land by far. So those are the 12 mini-games this has to offer. But there is more to it than that. Let me introduce you to Monita. And if you thought Navi was bad, and you thought Fee was bad, well, actually, she's not as bad as Fee, so don't worry about that. But Monita will annoy you when you first put the game on. Just constant enforced tutorials at the beginning that just really grind on you. But once you get through that, it's not so bad. So this is what it looks like. So as you can see, this freak Monita here just suddenly comes up telling you all this stuff in a patronising way, as if you've never played any games before and you don't have common sense. Just the stuff that Fee kept doing as well, but nowhere near as annoying. But still, she just grates on you a lot. I mean, I can't take this anymore. I have to end it now. In some mini-games, there's an evil version of her that turns up. And I'm like, why can't it just be the real version of her? I want to take out the real version of her. You may have noticed that I was collecting coins in some of the mini-games. They're used for this game here, which basically lets you unlock things to put in your park, like decorations, which you can tap with the touch screen, and that makes them do things, and you can learn about Nintendo stuff through that, I guess. And you may be noticing that tilting the gamepad screen tilts the screen on the TV, which is very off-putting. And there's also the attraction tour, which basically is like a party game mode where it selects random mini games, and it's a sort of a tournament style thing, I suppose. The only problem with it is it'll bring up a round where it says, okay, the winner of this one gets triple points than normal, and it's like, well, there's no point in playing those other games then, because whoever wins that's going to win the whole thing. Just sort of defeats the whole point of doing a tournament, really. But, oh well, it's a little extra thing, I suppose. So overall, this game is pretty good. I mean, it's a bit of a hit and miss mini-game collection, as people say, but there are more hits than there are misses. A few duff mini-games, but the good ones make up for it. there's only one thing that really bothers me is Nintendo Land. Nintendo have a lot of franchises. Where is Kirby? Where is Star Fox? I mean, you could have had like a flight simulator thing for Star Fox. I mean, Captain Falcon should have been a roller coaster thing, and maybe give that twister thing to Mario Kart or Kirby or something. Whereas Fire Emblem, Wario could have had like a treasure hunt thing with a map on the gamepad. That would have been cool. But I am the type of person who's always wanting more, and so I'm just never happy that with Mario Kart Smash Brothers. I always want things to be added on. But overall, for what you get with this game, it is good stuff on there. Like I said, more hits than misses. At the end of the day, Nintendo brought out this game to say, look at all the cool stuff you can do with this. We're never going to make any games that actually use these ideas, but it can do them. And that is a sad point where, when I first got the Wii U and that game, I would play it for the novelty of the ideas this can do. Like when Wii Sports came out, it was a novelty. But over 3 years later, it's still a novelty. I still play this game for the novelty of using gamepad games, because it's not really supported in the way that Nintendo first brought out those games. It's really just you can play your games on here instead of the TV. It's the main feature it's being used, which is the best feature of the Wii U, but still, it's just a shame we didn't see more of games like that. But this game still exists. You can get it pretty cheap now. I highly recommend buying this, especially with friends. It's a lot of fun. I really do find it weird that it lets you commit suicide.